So we'll move on to our next speaker. We have Dr. Pooja Bhatlavande, who's a VR surgeon from Anil Eye Hospital in Thane, and she'll be talking to us on indications for medical management of endophthalmitis, intravitreal injections, timings, and technique. Over to you, Dr. Pooja.
Thank you, Dr. Shi. So, medical management of post-cataract endophthalmitis. Before beginning, I would like to reiterate what Dr. Sethi said, that not to lose your composure. It's a very disheartening picture to see this in the post-operative period, but and you tend to, some people might tend to panic about it and make a few calls to a VR surgeon. We have to first think, once we have ruled out that no, it's not TAS, and I think it is going towards a diagnosis of endophthalmitis clinically, then first and foremost, we have to take a moment to look at the patient systemically. Whether his blood sugar levels are controlled, is he an uncontrolled diabetic, are there any cannulas which are still in situ, is he not revealing any sources of other infections like chronic cough or urinary tract infections. And immediately we should also plan to send a blood culture sample for a blood culture and a urine culture. That is of prime importance before we start any further systemic antibiotics. Then we can plan on an AC tap with a 30 gauge or a 26 gauge needle, whichever you're comfortable with. A vitreous tap, 3.5 millimeter from the limbus, considering this is a pseudophakic patient, with a 24 gauge needle under peribulbar or even topical block if you are comfortable. Why peribulbar? Patient is already in too much pain. We need to look after patient discomfort also. And to be very sure about taking a good sample and not ending up with a dry tab just because of a vitreous tab, we can do, especially if you're planning a vitrectomy later on, we can plan a vitreous biopsy. So just a small word on how to go about a vitreous biopsy, and then we can move on to the intravitreal antibiotics. So after an aqueous tap, an infusion port is inserted 3.5 millimeters from the limbus, but the infusion is not turned on. The vitreous cutter is inserted through another separate sclerotomy, 3.5 millimeters from the limbus. A handheld syringe is attached to the aspirating line by the assistant, surgical assistant, who aspirates at least until 0.5 ml is obtained. Then once that is done, you can disconnect it. You can check the infusion cannula. Form the globe. Once you're sure that the globe is reformed, then you can remove the cutter. And the undiluted vitreous sample is to be sent immediately. Ideally, within the same syringe, you can label it and send it to the lab. So coming to intravitreal antibiotics, choice of antibiotics. Now, an ideal drug would have these properties. It will be bactericidal, a broad spectrum, a good therapeutic ratio, and favorable pharmacokinetic properties. But the initial therapy should be aimed to cover both gram-negative and gram-positive microorganisms. So, an empirical regimen is the ideal treatment to start with, to begin with, which would consist of intravitreal vancomycin and ceftazidime or amikacin. So obviously an antibiotic combination, but which is injected separately intravitreally. Doses must be highly accurate because the margin for error between chemotherapy and toxicity is narrow, and the efficacy depends upon how long the intraocular drug concentration exceeds the minimal inhibitory concentration of that particular drug for that particular organism implicated. Coming to some examples, so the most common ones I've just highlighted them. Amikacin, you can see the intravitreal doses here and what they are usually active against. So amikacin would be the preference for gram-negative and Pseudomonas. Ceftazidime, which we use in the empirical regimen, is a broad spectrum for both gram-positive and gram-negative, and vancomycin for gram-positive cocci and even in MRSA, resistant staph. Important to note is also the vitreous half-life, because the drugs in the vitreous cavity, in case of an inflammation, the vitreous half-life sometimes might be affected by inflammation. I'll come to that shortly. So specific antibiotic therapy for organisms, you can take a look, just a quick look. And these are some antifungals which we commonly use, most commonly amphotericin B, dosage is 5 micrograms, and voriconazole, 50 micrograms. These are active against Candida and Aspergillus, also against Histoplasma and Fusidium. So drug preparation here is an important part because we don't have ready-made drugs for intravitreal injections. These will usually be in vials of intravenous drugs, so powder formulations usually. I think you can take a picture of this if interested, just a screenshot. So most importantly are vancomycin, which the final dose should be 1 milligram in 0.1 ml. Ceftazidime should be 2.25 milligram and amikacin should be 125 micrograms. Important to note is different countries or different regions might have intravenous drug formulations of different dosages. So be sure before opening the vial, just you're checking the dose on the vial before you start the formulation preparation. And these are the antifungals, amphotericin B and voriconazole. Some other antibiotics which may be needed in case the sensitivity report shows guides us towards their usage. Now the elimination of these drugs, inflammation like I said, affects the elimination and the vitreous half-life. So inflammation increases the elimination of drugs that are eliminated from the anterior route, like vancomycin, which are passively removed from the anterior chamber, and inflammation decreases the elimination of drugs which are eliminated by RP, like cephalosporins. So this can also affect their effective vitreous half-life. Some studies also mention using half the dosage of the drugs in silicon oil filled eyes. So important to note before intravitreal injection is the wound integrity, like Sir said, any infected sutures or suture abscesses, status of the lens, obviously we are considering pseudophakics here, and intraocular pressure. So the technique, anesthesia of choice could be peribulbar or topical. Asepsis, as in all intravitreal injections, should be followed, like a sterile field, drape, lid speculum, povidone, iodine topically. Separate needles for loading and injecting the drug, and avoid touching the needle anywhere but at the site of injection. Site of injection can be, according to the surgeon's comfort, usually superotemporal or inferotemporal quadrant, or at the same site as that of with biopsy. Just a glance at the distance from the limbus. 3.5 in our cases, usually in adult pseudophakic patients. So the needle of choice would be a 30 gauge half-inch needle, which research has shown to cause lesser vitreous reflux and lesser patient discomfort. Injection should be perpendicular, straight, preferably done that way by most VR surgeons because of patient discomfort and the ease of insertion. But you can also opt for an oblique or a tunneled injection like you would do in other intravitreal injections, but all of them should be directed towards the center of the vitreous cavity. A steady injection and steady removal of the needle, followed by application of cotton bud to prevent reflux. So a quick video for that. It's not playing.
Just click on it. Yeah.
So this is for the AC tap. And then the vitreous tap. And you can see the cotton pledget placed to prevent reflux. And then with the use of calipers, measure the distance from the limbus. Followed by straight stab entry, what we call, into the vitreous cavity. So repeating injections, decision to repeat intravitreal injections based on clinical improvement, severity of endophthalmitis and fulminance of the organism. Can consider repeat injections 36 to 48 hours after the first dose, and 7% of the endophthalmitis vitrectomy study patients received a repeat intravitreal injection within 36 hours. The repeat injection should be aimed at optimizing the duration of drug to reach above the MIC and not higher drug concentrations or higher drug levels. Frequent repetition is better than aiming to reach higher doses of drug, which might cause toxicity. Repeat injections, whenever possible, should be guided by culture and sensitivity reports. Other parts of the medical management, just a quick look at the topical antibiotics. These are fortified drugs that we can use, 5% ceftriaxone, 5% vancomycin and 1.3% tobramycin. Systemic antibiotics, although they do not achieve good vitreous levels normally, in inflamed eyes, in aphakic or vitrectomized eyes, they are seen to achieve good levels. Sorry, just a moment, just last slide. Severity of endophthalmitis and surgeon discretion obviously play a role. Aim to give the same antibiotic as the intravitreal, and oral or intravenous antifungals have shown to be act as good adjunctives. Role of steroids, again, fungal endophthalmitis should be ruled out, and intravitreal dexamethasone 0.4 milligram in 0.1 ml can be injected. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask all the panels, what is your way of initial biopsy? Because we did a survey recently with VRSI regarding what is your initial management step. Do you take only AC tap or vitreous biopsy with cutter? So like, how do you guys decide this? And is there only one fixed method? No, I will go only with cutter, or I go only with needle. How do you guys decide this, or what do you guys do?
Yeah, so I prefer a vitreous biopsy because that one, it gives a even larger sample, a better sample. That is one. And second is, suppose in a private practice, it depends on where your practice is also. So if you have a private practice with a VR setup, and the patient is referred to you, always better to go in, do the biopsy and do a core vitrectomy and come out. No matter how fulminant or how less fulminant the infection is. And then give intravitreal antibiotic followed by waiting for the culture and treating as appropriate. Not till the culture report comes. I never give steroids in the initial phase. Topical or intravitreal? No, I don't give intravitreal steroids in the first.
I think if you're not suspecting fungal, the source is not fungal, and
Yeah, I'll still wait for the culture report before I give a intravitreal dexamethasone.
What is your take, sir?
That's what I want to ask. Who gives steroids, who does not give steroids should be something that I normally, I suspect if it's acute endophthalmitis, not so much fungal, I do give Dexa.
Oh, you give.
If it is not, I'm not suspecting fungal out of it, then probably I'll give Dexa, because inflammation needs to be controlled.
Rural areas, there is no scope of getting culture sensitivity done.
Yes.
So in this situation, what is your advice?
So in such situations, you just have to go by your clinical signs and symptoms, the type of presentation, acute or subacute, or if it's happened like a delayed post-operative. So your clinical examination needs to be really good. If you at least have a B scan, you need to have a strong sense of suspicion that if it's an end of, and then you need to treat appropriately or refer to a VR surgeon.
Suppose a patient comes to you after
Yeah.
2 weeks or 3 weeks
Yeah,
with gradual reduction of vision or sudden reduction of vision.
yeah,
So we don't think that it is bacterial.
okay,
It may be fungal.
yeah,
But there is no scope of getting help of the labs.
okay.
So in this situation, what is your advice?
If-
Whether we treat with oral antifungal and no steroid locally.
If you have a person who is giving intravitreal injections, better to give intravitreal injection and refer.
Intravitreal injection of amphotericin.
No, not amphotericin. Amphotericin is not very easy to acquire and to make. You need ringer lactate to mix it with. So you can give voriconazole along with the vanco and ceftazidime.
So, but no steroid.
No steroid.
So any late and the reaction is less,
Yes.
coming after 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah.
we have to add intravitreal antifungal also,
Yes.
Yes.
without any steroid and refer.
Yes.
Thanks.
Hello. Uneventful cataract surgery. Patient was on 2 weeks of antibiotics and 4 weeks of steroids, tapering dose. And after the steroid drugs got stopped, patient developed iritis-like symptoms. Pain, red eye, KPs. So is it iritis or delayed endophthalmitis? And what will be the treatment?
So there again you'll have to see your posterior segment, the view to the posterior segment. Is there a glow? Can you see the disc? Can you see the third order vessels? And also whether on your B scan you need to rule out a posterior segment involvement. So if posterior segment is not involved, you treat it like a recurrent iritis or a post-operative uveitis and start the patient on treatment with oral steroids. Now, whether the decision to take a culture or a vitreous stab depends on what your B scan is showing. If it's absolutely clear, I don't think a vitreous stab or anything is required. We can directly start the treatment with steroids. And if the patient is not immunocompromised, not a diabetic, you can even think of giving oral steroids.
Okay,
So,
thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Any other opinion from? Yeah.
I wanted to ask, sir, if
Yes.
Also in such cases, get an OCT of macula, because many such cases will have some amount of cystoid macular edema.
Yeah.
uneventful surgery, sir, then why was the patient on oral steroids? Topical, sir.
Topical steroids tapering.
Just actually I have to know that what is the can be done by for panophthalmitis or endophthalmitis after cataract surgery, and because we often see the cases, so how to revive them? Is there any remedies?
How to revive after endophthalmitis prognosis?
Correct, sir. You'll have to go in all out. You'll have to do a vitrectomy. Sometimes do a proper core vitrectomy. Visualize and do a vitrectomy. If you can't put in the infusion, then place the ACM and give you antibiotics. And but if it's panophthalmitis, in that case, it has to be palliative measure, and otherwise it requires an evisceration. So that is.
But actually we started just cleaning the whole material outside. After that, giving antibiotic of no use, isn't it?
Sir, it's
What?
definitely of use. Definitely it will affect, vitrectomy will affect, a vitrectomized eye will behave
Achha.
differently than a globe which has vitreous. But that does not mean that we cannot inject antibiotics, because that's our only hope of reducing the load of the bacterial load or the microorganism load and the virulence of the organism.
Vitrectomy will help, I think. You are telling.
Vitrectomy will help, yes, sir.
That we
Yes.
have not done, that's why I could not say that.
Yeah.
Thank you.